Welcome to the Multipitch 1 module of our video series. In this video, we will introduce the basic skills needed to tackle multi-pitch routes. In this terrain, we need to divide the climb into several pitches, each separated by top-managed belay anchors. We'll discuss how to prepare for routes of varying lengths, belay transitions, and new rappel techniques used in multi-pitch descents.
Multi-pitch routes involve more complexity and introduce higher consequences than single-pitch routes. As such, they require new levels of preparedness that we wouldn't consider elsewhere. In single-pitch environments, if things go wrong, we can usually just lower the climber and hike out. But in multi-pitch terrain, the climbing team could be hundreds of feet above the ground in remote areas, so we need to plan ahead. Preparing and planning for big multi-pitch adventure is crucial. We'll now highlight 3 important items to consider as you begin planning and preparing for your multi-pitch objectives. The first is a contingency plan. You and your partner should have an involved discussion about how much time each aspect of your objective will take. This includes the approach, how long you expect to take per pitch, and the descent. It's a great idea to add buffer time for route finding or getting lost if the area is unfamiliar. More importantly, you should ask yourself, what time of day do I expect to start the route, complete the route, and be back at the car? What is my plan if I'm behind schedule? Do I have options to bail? Do people know about my plan and how to check on me if I don't return? Some multi-pitch climbs allow you to bail at any time by rappelling, and these climbs are great choices when you're first starting out. Other routes might require bailing off your own gear, which can get pretty pricey. And still others may require that you commit to summiting without the option to bail along the way. Study the route and nearby terrain well in case things go wrong. Having solid contingency plans is key. An unexpected turn of events, like bad weather, traffic jams, injury, or getting lost, are actually quite common and may require you to call upon your plan.
The second key item is communication. This can be as simple as having a well-charged cell phone with good service, so it's important to know what kind of signal you will have on the wall. Consider an extra battery for your phone if you intend to be out for a long time. If service is known to be poor, a satellite phone like an inReach has SOS features to call for search and rescue, in addition to sending check-in messages for select recipients. It's important to know that deploying search and rescue can put volunteer lives at risk, so this should be a last resort if all other options of return have been exhausted, or if a climber's life is in immediate danger. Our Multipitch 2 course will cover a variety of rescue scenarios that can get you out of a challenging situation, which can be exercised before calling for help. Another good communication device that is growing in popularity are two-way radios like these walkie-talkies, which transmit clear commands between climber and belayer, which can be incredibly useful when communication is compromised.
The third key item is an appropriate emergency kit. We will dive into what your emergency kit might look like, which depends on the totality of your objective. The point is that you should pack the appropriate materials to solve unexpected problems all around.
Let's now talk about how to pack for a multi-pitch climb. There are a lot of variables at play when deciding what to pack, so we'll discuss what that can look like across various commitment grades. Part of multi-pitch climbing is optimizing your own systems through trial and error, so take these guidelines as starting points to begin exploring how you like to pack. There are roughly 5 commitment grades that describe multi-pitch terrain. Commitment Grade 1 is identical to single pitch, which we have covered extensively in this video series. Commitment Grade 2 is when the climb only requires a few pitches or less than half of a day commitment on technical terrain. For these types of climbs, we can usually pack pretty light. Stashing a snack or 2 in your pockets and clipping a water bottle to your harness should suffice for most Grade 2 climbs.
In grade 3 terrain, the commitment becomes more serious, and we're planning for a full day climb in the 5 to 10 pitch range. Here, we'll definitely want water, 1 to 2 liters depending on weather and space to pack calories. A headlamp is a critical piece of equipment for this commitment grade in case you spend a longer time on the wall. Also consider packing a small first aid kit of tape and ibuprofen. We can pack these items in a small fanny pack or chalk bag with an accessory pocket. Commitment grade 4 is when the climb is an extremely long day. The headlamps start and finish, and pitches can be anywhere from 10 to 20. We'll want lots of water and calories, extra packable layers, including windbreakers and puffy jackets, and rain gear can be critical for changing temperatures you'll experience. An emergency blanket can be life-saving if weather turns extreme. Here, a lightweight multi-pitch backpack 10 to 15 liters should suffice for these objectives. Lastly, grade 5 and 6, which we won't cover here, involve multi-day expeditions on big walls. Starting with low-grade commitments and working your way up is a great approach to smooth and enjoyable multi-pitch climbs.
Now that we have a good overview on how to prepare for a multi-pitch climb, let's discuss anchor transitions. There are 2 strategies to anchor transitions. The first is swinging leads, where the leader and the follower swap roles on the next pitch. The second is leading in blocks, where the leader continues to lead and the follower continues to follow for a certain number of pitches. With proper rope management, both of these strategies can be efficient. So discuss with your partner which strategy you prefer before heading up. We'll now dive into how to effectively manage these transitions.
In a swinging lead, the leader will build an anchor at the completion of the pitch as usual. We've discussed a variety of ways to build top-managed anchors using accessory material from our Anchor 2 video or using the rope from our traditional lead climbing video. If you decide to build an anchor with your climbing rope, you must swing leads with your follower, since the leader's end of the rope is now married to the anchor. Once the anchor is built and you're in direct, we call off belay. As we pull up the rope, ensure the follower's end of the rope is neatly on top of the coil or pile. Since we have a nice ledge to belay from, we will simply flake the rope and do a clean pile on the ledge. Once the rope is taut to the follower, rig the belay per usual. When the follower arrives at the anchor, they will clove in and you can take them off belay. Hand off the remaining gear to the follower as they organize their harness for the next lead. Be very mindful not to drop any gear, as this can put climbers below you in serious harm. Clipping gear to the anchor or to the rope is a good way to avoid any mistakes with passing off gear. Since the follower's end of the rope is on top of the pile, you're ready to simply put them on lead belay. Clip the rope to the Jesus piece, a piece of gear high above your waist that would prevent a direct load on the belayer if the leader were to fall, also known as a fall factor 2. You can later clean the Jesus piece as the leader moves up the route if it is in the way. Once belay checks are complete, the new leader can remove their clove hitch and cast off. This process of swinging leads can be repeated until the team arrives at the top of the climb.
For block leads, the transition looks very similar. Here, we'll have the leader build an anchor with accessory material, such as a cordelette, go in direct, and call off belay. In the event that there is no ledge to belay on, we can organize the rope into neat butterfly coils over the leader's tether. Belay the follower up as usual. When the follower arrives to the anchor, they will hand off the extra gear that they cleaned to the leader, who will re-rack and prepare to lead the next pitch. Now, do a pancake flip with the butterfly coils to put the leader's end of the rope back on top of the pile for a smooth lead belay. Remember to give the leader an anchor kit for the next pitch, as theirs is in use. Clip the Jesus piece and put the leader on belay. Then the leader can untether and start climbing. If continuing to block lead, this method can be repeated until the team reaches the top.
Now we'll discuss descent techniques used in multi-pitch terrain. Remember, the climb is only half the adventure. Getting down can take just as long, if not longer, than the climb. Multi-pitch epics, which are instances where we get into sticky situations, most commonly happen on descents. Always study the descent beta closely before committing to your adventure. Climbs are typically either walked off, rappelled, or some combination of the two. Some rappel stations are spaced out too far to rappel with a single rope, so it's not uncommon to rappel with two ropes joined together or a main rope with a tagline. Now we'll cover how to join two ropes. The standard rope joining knot is a flat overhand bend. Be sure the bend is taut, well-dressed, and tied with at least 10 centimeters of tail. This gives us ample security in case the knot rolls when loaded. Be mindful of the differences in rope diameters when joining two ropes with a flat overhand bend, as notable differences in the diameter will promote rolling. Aim to keep the differences within 3 millimeters. You can always tie a second flat overhand bend behind the first if you want to add a little extra security.
We'll now discuss a typical multi-pitch rappel transition. When you and your partner reach the top of the climb, start by tethering directly to the anchor and untying from your climbing rope. Be extra sure to secure the rope so you don't drop it. In this example, we'll discuss a double rope rappel, but the same techniques apply for single ropes as well. Start by threading one rope through the rappel chains and tie the ropes together with a joining knot. Then, tie terminating knots at the ends of both ropes before lowering them down the climb. Once the ropes are lowered, the first climber will rig their rappel, which was covered in our sport climbing video. After test weighting the system, the first climber will untether and begin to rappel to the next set of bolts with their anchor kit ready to deploy. When the climber arrives at the next station, they will build an anchor, tether in, and call "off rappel." Then, the second climber can set up and begin rappelling. Be sure to take note of which strand to pull. This should be the side of the rope with the joining knot, in this case the green rope. Also be sure to clean your anchor before you start descending. When both climbers arrive at the lower anchor, untie both terminating knots, thread the pull strand through the anchor, in this case the green rope. And begin pulling the rope down from the upper station. Once the joining knot is centered back at the anchor, retie your terminating knots and repeat the process until you've completed all of your rappels.
A reepschnur is a good alternative rappel where we fix one side of rope for the rappel and the other side is a pull line. To rig a reepschnur, tie an overhand on a bight near the anchor and clip it to the strand of rope on the other side of the anchor with a locking carabiner. Now that side of the rope is fixed because the knot prevents the rope from pulling through the anchor. Since the one side of the rope is fixed, we'll rappel on a single strand with a tube-style device or a griggery. We'll see advantages to this rappel method in Multipitch too, where the griggery allows for easy rope ascension when route finding, or if the pull line needs to be extended if the rope is too short.
In this video, we've introduced you to the basic concepts of multi-pitch climbing. We covered how to prepare and pack for these exciting objectives and how to transition up and down pitches. As with any new discipline of climbing, it's a good idea to start small and easy, with lots of retreat options and lots of extra time for pitches and descent. As you dial in your systems, your transition efficiency will quickly improve and bigger, harder objectives will soon be in reach.